The next topic, we're going to get into greatest common factor. So a greatest common factor is a number that divides, and if you're looking at two or three numbers, divides all those numbers, whether it be 2, 3, 4, or whatever, and it is the biggest one. So if you look at 15 and 40, now you can do this a couple different ways. Some of you might be able to just do it in your head and say, well, let's just see what numbers divide both of those, and then what is the biggest one. Now, a pretty straightforward way of doing this is just look at the numbers separately, so 15 and 40, and see what numbers divide 15 and 40. And then we'll look to see which ones they have in common. So if you look at 15, 1, of course, divides everything. I have 3. I also have 5. And I also have 15. So notice how you're always going to have a number with another number. So notice I have kind of a rainbow effect. 3 times 5 multiplies to give me 15. 1 times 15 gives me 15. Unless you have a number with itself. Let's take a look at 40. Well, 1 divides 40. 2 divides 40. 3 doesn't. 4 divides 40. 5 divides 40 because anything that ends in 0 or 5. 6 does not. 7 does not. 8 does. 8 with the 5 gives me 40. Okay, 9, 10. 10 with the 4 gives me that. And you can get the idea. So we have 2 and 20. 2 times 20 gives me 40. And of course, itself. Now looking at those two lists, we have to look at which ones do they have in common? Well, they have the 1 in common for sure. 3 isn't in with the 40th list. 4 isn't with the 15. The 5s are in common. And there's no 15 in the 40. So actually the biggest number that divides both of them is 5. So the greatest common factor of this one will be 5. Let's take a look at 17 and 16. Numbers that divide 17, well, I got 1 and 17, because 17 technically is prime. So only 1 and 17 will divide it. If I look at 16, I got 1, 2, 4. 4 with itself will give me 16. 2 times 8 will give me 16, and then 1 and 16 will also give me 16. So you might notice on this one, well, the only ones that are in common are 1. So the greatest common factor of this one is just 1. The name of the game here is you're finding a number that divides both of the numbers that you can divide out of them, and we want the biggest one. A little trick, if one of them is prime, it's always going to be 1, because that's the biggest number that can divide it. Unless that number itself was a factor of the number. So if we had like 17 and 34, 17 would have 1, 17. 34 would be like 1, 2, 17, and 34. So in that case, 17 would be. So I guess all the time it's not going to be 1, but sometimes it will. But just make sure to think about it. 50 and 75. So looking at 50, we got 1. We have 2. We have 5. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, not until 10. Okay, 5 times 10. 2 times 25. And then we have 50 at the end. And if we look at 75, I have 1. I have 3. I have 5. I have 25. Okay. So 25 and 3. Actually, there is 1 in between 5 and 25. Should be 15. So 5 times 15. 3 times 25. And then 1 and 75. So which one is the biggest number in both of them? There are 1s in common. There are 5s in common. There are 25s in common. So actually 25 is the biggest one, and 25 is my greatest common factor for that one. All right, let's try out a few more. So 18 and 36. So for 18, I got 1. I have 2. I have 3. I have 6. 6 times 3 gives me 18. 2 times 9. You might know it's kind of a rainbow pattern that you get with these. And then 1 and 18. Kind of how I look at these is I just basically think of two numbers that multiply to give me the number. So for 36, you got 1. And on the end, I'm going to put 36. Okay. 2, since it's even. 2 times what number? Well, 2 times 18. Okay. 3 will work. 3 times 12. 4 will work. 4 times 9. And then I have 1 left because 6 times 6 gives me 36. So 6 goes in there. So that with itself, go like that, boom, boom. And we notice that, oh, 18 is the biggest one out of both of those. So 18 is the greatest common factor. It'll never be bigger than your lowest number because a number bigger than your lowest can't technically divide it. 100 and 120. So for 100, we got 1, we got 2, we got 4, we have 5, we have 10, a lot of them here. So 10 times 10 gives me 100. 5 times 20 will give me 100. 4 times 25. 2 times 50. And 1 times 100. I don't think I'm missing any there. And 120, I have 1, 2, 4 will divide it. 5. 10 will divide it. So 10 times 12. 5 times should be a 24. 4 times 30 will give me 120. 2 times 60 and 1 times 120. Okay, so the biggest one, and I actually think I'm missing one here. I should have a 20. Yeah, 20 and 6 should be in there too. So 6 and 20. Because actually, if you look at these, the biggest one in each is 20. So 20 is the greatest common factor for that one.